everyone, I'm Mary Ellen Yates. My family just recently, or semi-recently, returned from Germany. We've been in Georgia now for, I guess, 6 or 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, something like that. But Germany's on my mind a lot. We were there for 4.5 years. And so today I wanted to talk about the German grocery stores. Because if you haven't been there yet, I'm hoping this will be a little helpful. My husband is a civilian and he found a job in Bavaria and our family moved there. We lived surrounded by grocery stores, and so our favorites were Lidl and Edeka, and Rewe was there too. We liked Rewe and Erbendorf, and then when we were in Grafenwöhr, we liked Lidl and Edeka. Edeka pretty much has pretty much anything you're looking for except for like specific American items. And then Lidl had the best selection in meat. They pretty much had all the meat selections all the time, where at the other grocery stores, there's usually certain meats that are available on certain days. So those were, and Lidl is more of like a discount grocery store, where Edeka is more like a regular grocery store, and so sometimes the prices would be a little higher at Edeka. So we were in the best of both worlds. So we lived near a base, and so we had the commissary there, so we were able to get our, like, we can only find it in America, like a big bottle of Tabasco or Texas Pete or some convenient snack foods that are unhealthy for you. We could get those things at the commissary, and you could get like fruit and all that kind of stuff too, but the economy usually had the same stuff and it was often cheaper. I went grocery shopping every week and I spent around $70, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more, and that's with meat for a family of 5 and other things as well. We even bought bubble water while we were there, a lot of that, which my kids were obsessed with, so it was super cheap. Especially now that we're in Georgia and we're paying for grocery prices, and we're like, man, we really miss Germany. But anyway, so some of the things you might want to know before you go. If you have kids, it might be nice to go by yourself the first time and be prepared to spend longer. The first time I went, I was so overwhelmed. I had 2 kids. One of them was an infant, and I spent at least 2 hours in there because we were looking for specific items, and I just kept wandering the store trying to find where those things were, using my Google Translate. Google Translate is your friend. Trying to find certain things. A lot of things you can understand by the pictures and stuff like that, but sometimes Google Translate doesn't quite translate correctly and it can be confusing. So anyway, be prepared. But by the time I left Germany, it took me maybe 20-25 minutes with my kids to go around the store and get what I need. So it was super efficient once I figured it out, but give yourself time in the beginning. So tip 1, always have coins in your wallet. Your euro has the equivalent of $1, $2, and 50-cent coins. They are very handy to have in your wallet at all times because you never know when you're going to need them. One of the times you're going to need them is the grocery store. If you've been to an Aldi in the States, you're probably familiar with it, but you have to insert a coin to be able to unhook your grocery cart to be able to use it. And then when you are done with it, you have to hook it back up to the line of carts, and then you're able to get your money back. This helps them you don't see carts all over the parking lots because everyone wants their euro back. Most carts you can use either of those 3 coins, but some are more picky, but the euro is usually always available. Could use a quarter also if you had an American quarter on you. So just a tip if you have both money in your wallet. Me and my husband eventually just had euros in our wallet usually, and then if we were on base, we just used our cards because it was easier than having to have 2 currencies in our wallet. But anyway, and then also the carts are different than in the States. Wheels are all multi-directional, so they all move at the same time. Unlike in the States where your first 2 swivel and then the last 2 are locked, going straight to keep you in a straight line. Not so in Germany. And so this is definitely a learning curve, because when you're pushing kids in a heavy cart, like I had like loads of water and all this stuff, and I'm trying to stop, the front part of your cart can like still veer off to another direction instead of just like stopping. So just be aware of that. Give yourself some room as you're figuring that out. You get used to it though. But I still like the American like in one line kind of thing. Google Translate's very helpful, as I mentioned, but also if you just Google German cottage cheese and then you can see a picture of what that's going to look like, that might help you more, because then you can like search for that item, because it is exhausting trying to use your Google Translate, trying to find what each thing is and stuff like that. And especially cottage cheese was tricky for me because there was a couple of different pictures that looked like cottage cheese. One of them is cottage cheese, and that one is the Hüttenkäse. But there's also a Korniger Frischkäse, and I'm sure I butchered that a lot. But that one translates to grainy cream cheese, and it's very similar. It reminds me of ricotta cheese, and it was fine. Like, I mostly just bought them for lasagna, so both worked in there, but I preferred the cottage cheese. So just an FYI that they are very different products. There's a lot of different milk products, like, that are very similar. They have a lot of the percentage of fat listed for things to try to find like a similar equivalent. Heavy whipping cream was one of those things that was hard to find. We often got that on base if we were really needed heavy whipping cream. Otherwise, we just got something that had like a higher fat content. But that's something to also keep an eye on to see like what your equivalent is. Especially when you're like baking or like making something specific that's very like sensitive to the different macronutrients. So also Germany is a baker's dream. So they have tons of different types of flour. You have rye flour, dinkel flour, which is spelt in American, einkorn, white wheat, like they have all the different types. They have all the different grains, but then those grains are also broken into types. And so looking up the type that you're looking for, because it's going to say type and a number. And so I figured out all-purpose flour was 550. So if you saw type 550, you know that's all-purpose flour. And so that's mostly what I bought there. I got the dinkel version just to be a little healthier. Spelt is one of those older grains, and it worked well. We used it all the time, and it's a pretty neutral flavor, and we didn't notice any difference in our recipes using that versus an American all-purpose flour. So, and I've discovered how I wasn't much of a baker. I just had a few things I made in Germany, and then once I came back, I started doing sourdough, and I bake a lot now. And I realized how spoiled I was there, because it is really hard to even find basic flour. There's a lot of like quick bread things or self-rising flour and all that stuff. Like, I just want like basic organic flour, and that is actually really hard to find here. I had to start using Azure Standard to get the types of flour that I wanted, and the all-purpose flour from Costco. But just to be aware of that. So if you're a baker, you're probably going to be in heaven. It'll be fun to try out the different items. Also, there's usually butcheries inside the grocery stores. Some of them will require you to pay at the butchery in the store, but a lot of them just let you get what you need and then go to the cashier and check out. Also, if you're in the grocery store with kids, they will give the kids Kinder sausage or a salami pretzel. That's like a hard salami pretzel thing. And my kids loved both of those, and they would always ask to stop by the butcher's so they could get that. So that's fun. You'll notice in Germany that most places are prepared for kids, and they love kids, and they'll give them a little something if you go by, like pharmacy, doctor's offices. Like, we didn't buy much like treats, because everywhere we went, there was someone giving my kids candy or something else. If you go to the bakery, they'll give them a little like heart cookie. It's really cute and sweet. Also, to be aware, tomato paste and a lot of mustards are in tubes. So if you're looking for tomato paste or mustard, don't look for a can, look for a tube. The exception is for mustard, that a lot of the sweet mustard is often in a glass jar. Mexican inspired products. When you go to Germany, you're going to be, if you love Mexican food, you're going to be missing it. But Do not buy any of the products in the grocery store. They are all disgusting. We tried them all and they were awful. Go to your commissary for those items or buy them on Amazon and have them shipped because they are disgusting on the economy. They have a weird taste. Mexican restaurants that are more like American Mexican restaurants are inspired. Those are good, but or okay. They'll do, but do not get the products from the grocery store. Also, eggs there's 10 to a carton instead of 12. Unless you are at Lidl, sometimes they had +2 eggs added to the cart kind of thing, but usually they're 10 eggs per carton. Lots of food are also labeled with a health grade from A to E, A being healthy and E being not healthy. And so that makes it easier to make healthier choices because it'll tell you how healthy those items are, which I really appreciated. Also, they don't use the chemicals that they use in the States to harvest their food. They have organic options for a lot of things. You'll see bio, and that means organic. But a lot of times we didn't have to do that because they don't use the same chemicals in the harvesting. So that was really nice there. My oldest son especially has issues kind of processing some of those like extra chemicals and things like that. So it'll build up in his body. So we have to be, in the States, we have to be very careful and get a lot of organic. So it was really nice not having to worry about that in Germany. Also, they will list where they got the product. If it's not from Germany, they'll list the country that it's from because Germans know what's going on in these different countries. They're very aware of the world, and there'll be certain items that they won't buy if it's from a certain country because they know that their farming practices or the land is contaminated and stuff like that, and they know that, and they might not buy from that country. So they tend to be very more conscientious about health there. Not to say that a lot of their food isn't high in salt and fat as well, because you know those lovely gravies and foods are yummy too. But a lot of them do pay attention to it more. When you see your price, that's your whole price. The 19% tax is included. It's so much more inexpensive there. Like I said, I would spend like $70 for a family of 5. Now I have 6, but a family of 5, and we could easily, comfortably feed my family. And that was with like splurging on items like candies and other things. And we also did a lot of dinner parties and things like that. And so that was a very generous $70. You also won't find many bulk items there. They don't do a lot of bulk. You'll notice most Germans shop many times in a week. And a standard German house is just going to have like a medium-sized fridge. Their fridges aren't very big, so they buy a lot more fresh stuff and they don't store things as much as we do. If we needed bulk items, sometimes we'd go to the commissary. One thing that I liked, they had shelf-stable milk, which I haven't been able to find in Georgia. And I would use that, good for a couple of months. And so we would just rotate through those with my kids. They were in liter paper cartons. And that was really nice because we could store our milk there and our milk wouldn't go bad. And then we had extra room in our refrigerator. So as an American, if you're connected to the base, you'll get an extra refrigerator too, which will help with storing all your stuff. And then buying drinks. If you would like to buy drinks, they have a lot of different options that are fun to try. You can buy them in a case or you can buy them single. If they're packaged, you can still buy everything single. Just take it out of the package. Or you can buy the whole package, or you can buy things in a case. And then when you're done with all those things, they are big on recycling there. So you save all of your bottles and then you bring them back to the grocery store and they have a machine that you return all your stuff, and you can even return the case with the bottles in it. Tip, do not take off the label around your bottle that has the barcode because that is what is scanned when you're returning your bottles. They call it a font system. It gives you a receipt at the end, and then you bring that receipt, and when you check out, you can either get the money back, or when you check out, they just deduct that amount from your bill. So that's super nice. We had our son be in charge of it a lot, and he would get a portion of the money returned to him, so it was a way that he made some money. We liked that they recycled there, but the recycling is a whole nother video. Also, they have bakeries inside most grocery stores, which is a nice treat. So when you're leaving, you can get your goodies and try different things out, which are amazing. Last but not least, checking out can be the more stressful thing for Americans to do at the grocery store. So things to be aware of. You put all your groceries on, that cashier is just gonna stare at you while you put all your groceries on. They are not gonna start ringing anything up until you are done. So in the meantime, proper etiquette dictates if there's anyone that's behind you with a couple of items, which is very common since they buy their groceries more frequent, you're supposed to let them pass and pay and keep the line moving that way until you're finished putting all your items on. Once your items are on, that cashier goes into turbo mode. They scan super fast, they do not help you bag, and they do not have plastic bags like in the States. So you on the other end can either throw your stuff into the cart as fast as you can, and that's what I had to do in the beginning. You throw it all in the cart as fast as you can, because they expect you to keep up, and you're not going to be able to keep up. And then once they're done ringing it up, they tell you the price, you pay, and then they expect you to get all your stuff out of there because the next person's coming through. So you could throw all your stuff in the cart. Some grocery stores have this like wall shelf thing, and you can organize your stuff there, or you can just go to your trunk and organize your stuff there as you're putting it in the trunk. Things that I felt helpful was some of the grocery stores, especially Edeka, would have this where they had boxes, and you could bring your box in, or you could buy a box there for a small price, and then you could put a lot of your groceries in that, and then it was easy to just lift up and put in your trunk, and then easy to carry in the house as well. Another thing that I liked was at the commissary on base, they had these bags that had these sticks inside the bags that you could lay on your cart to organize your stuff, and I felt like that worked well too. Now their carts are smaller than the American carts, but I could still fit a couple of bags plus have one of my kids in the sitting part, and that was helpful. And then I would have my older son help. This is for veggies and fruits, and this is meat or something like that, and then he would load it, and that was helpful too. It only lasted so long though because my kids like to take out the sticks and play sword fight, so you know, you can only do what you can do. But those were some tips that might help you organize yourself. Also putting things on, like if you want all your fruits and veggies in a certain bag or certain spots, put those on the cart first because they're just going to go in order, and that helps you also. Just some tips to think about. And that is grocery shopping in Germany. I hope you found this helpful, and let me know in the comments if there are other tips or things that I didn't mention that other people should know when grocery shopping in Germany.